It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Thursday, June 13th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Sermons in the Sky with Pastor David Baker, QNA Thursday word study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And yes, it is a wonderful Thursday. We're heading into the tail end of the week. Hope you guys have enjoyed your week thus far. Don't forget, not just today, but every single week we have Q&A Thursday. So get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And if you haven't yet, please leave a like and comment to build our community. I'm just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title is, Since I Am With You, Make Sure You Take Action Together as Well. You must do that. It is Thursday, guys. I am super happy and excited that this week is coming to an end. It's already the 13th. Thank God it's not Friday the 13th. Well, only people in America and Canada would understand Friday the 13th. But yes, it is only Thursday the 13th. You know, I actually watched a movie the other day called How to Make Millions Before Your Grandma Dies. And it sounds like one of those funny, it's like a funny movie, or it could be really, really sad. It's actually a Thai movie. So I watched it here in Malaysia. It's a Thai movie. It had like three different, three different subtitles. Because there's Malay, and then there's Chinese, and then there's English. And okay, so for me, I was really moved and inspired by that movie. It makes you think about your mom. It really, really does. I was so moved by it, and there's this one part. I was ready to burst into tears. Like, this is just one part. And of course, it's not the death. It's totally not the death of the grandmother. Like, the death part, that's an inevitable thing. That wasn't the saddest part. There was a part near the end. Man, it really got me. I'm not sure if you guys are going to actually watch this movie, so I'm not going to give away a lot of these different things. But obviously, it's about the grandma's about to die and how to make millions. But you're going to kind of see the plot behind it. I was so close to having tears roll down my cheeks, like that close. And just looking at this grandmother and what she goes through in her heart with her children and her grandchildren, man. Yeah, it was bad. Like, not bad. I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but it's just so reality. The way it shows the situation is just reality. And man, during the movie, I kept thinking about my mom. I couldn't help it. Like, even right now, I sort of feel choked up in my chest, even right now. But, even for me, I get another chance to see my mom next year in Korea. So I will definitely make it a goal to bring her to Wonmyeongdong. But, it's I just sat there, and, there's a bunch of guys in that theater too. And I can see, you can hear the girls are crying in the theater, probably 2 or 3 times, but the girls are crying. And the guys is just dead silence. It is literally dead silence. You can see the guys, you can't even hear them breathing because they're holding in their tears and they're crying so tightly they can't even breathe. Like, even, it was me too. I made zero sound at those points. It was, like, I'm not going to cry in a movie theater, especially when it's packed like that. Yeah. I went out like a man, guys. Just want to let you guys out there know, I went out like a man. Not a single tear rolled down my cheek. I made sure that the pools of tears would dry up in my eyes. You lift your head up to look at the ceiling almost, and just making sure that all the tears would dry up before I put my head back down so none of the tears would come down. I even had tissue ready in my pocket. And even though I had tissue ready in my pocket, I never used it because I'm a man. Yes, indeed, I'm a man. Oh, gosh. I don't know, guys. Guys, if you're out there, let me know if you just straight up ever cry like a girl. I'm not saying like a girl, but I mean like, you know, how, like when I saw the girls crying in the theater, they're openly crying. You can hear the, and they're wiping their tears and stuff. And I looked at all the guys, none of us were wiping. None of us had tears rolling down. We were just watching and holding ourselves so tightly. But I don't know. Let me know if you're the same or not. If you are a prideful man like me who won't let those tears out, but I'm going to be a man about it. Remember, guys, I'm from the 70s. I was born in the 70s, so I'm old school man. The real man. All those men today, all these Gen Z men crying and stuff like that in public. No, that's not a man. That's totally not a man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm just here to cause trouble. Oh, it's too funny. Also today, it is Wednesday. I'm recording this for the Thursday podcast, but I did the Rebel Pastor podcast this morning on YouTube. Wonderful live stream today. Really thankful for everyone joining. Hopefully we can make this channel grow more and more every week. We had 400, and a big milestone happened. I got an email saying that the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel has reached 400,000 views. Okay? Tell me, guys, that is crazy amazing because it was just in, when was it? It was in February. It was either February or March that the channel reached 250,000 views. Right? That was just in March, which means April, May, June, which means in 3 months we've hit, which is during the time where we rebranded the YouTube channel, we've had 150,000 views in those 3 months and 250,000 views in 4 years. So tell me that is great progress, which means if we continue with this, we should be able to hit a million views probably within, then we would be at like 550, 700, probably maybe within the first quarter of next year we should hit 1 million views. But of course, as we're gaining more and more subscribers, the views and everything's gonna go up higher and higher too. So yeah, I was excited also this week. Another YouTube short hit like 1.2 thousand views in the first 24 hours, and for me that is exciting. That is exciting. All right. So wonderful live stream. Really thankful for everyone joining. Hopefully that we can make this channel grow more and more. I hope we can hit 1 million views. I hope we can hit 10,000 subscribers. All these things would really be cool. And I'm thankful for everyone supporting both channels. And for me, the growth is exciting. We just need to pray for that one video to go viral, blow up everything. Our goal is 10K for 2024, 10,000 subscribers. So let's make it happen. And let me tell you this one thing. If indeed we hit 10,000 subscribers, you know what's going to be crazy? You know it's only God. It can only be God. Because we're in the religious channel. We're part of the religious channels. It's not an easy niche on YouTube. There are so many channels, but people, when it comes to religion, are so divided. It's really hard for a single channel to get a lot of traction. So if the Rebel Pastor goes viral, it can only be because of God. There's no other reason. There's no other way. There's no other way but God himself as the only reason that this channel can actually blow up. So let's keep praying, and let's hope that even for myself, that I will be growing, maturing in the YouTube space and in my spirituality, in my maturity mentally and everything else, so that I'll be able to handle all these things too. All right. So yes, I'm very, very excited and happy about this too. What is new with you guys? What is new with you guys this week? It's already been, we've passed the halfway mark of the week. We're already into Thursday. What is going on in your world? Anything happening for you guys? Anything new? How about evangelism? Because I have been talking about evangelism at the beginning of this week also, and I really think evangelism is such a huge thing when it comes to this history. Yesterday, so the Wednesday, I was supposed to do health is happiness. Oh, no. I was supposed to do the Bible history. It was like Exodus chapter 26 to 30, but because of this week's message, I wanted to go into another script. I already had someone talking about the script they really enjoyed on Wednesday. Guys, if you want to hear the script for Gentiles, it is on the Wednesday second segment. Scripts are Wednesday, second segment. Go ahead, listen to that. If you want to listen to the other script I did, which was the week before, that was Thursday last segment, which is during Sermons in the Sky. So those are the two scripts that have been done. I hope it's something that you guys will enjoy. It'll be something that you guys can work on too. And maybe I'll just do a special video just on evangelism scripts. Maybe I'll do a special video. I'll post it up on a Saturday or something along that line, where a lot of people can find a little different scripts that they can use for evangelism in many different ways. Okay? So yeah, that's something that I do think that I want to get into also. So yeah, if there's anything happening during this week, please let me know. Would love to hear how you are doing, what's going on. But yes, evangelism, check out the script from yesterday, Wednesday, second segment script. And you know what? I'm going to do that script from Wednesday. I'm going to try that on my Rebel Pastor channel. I'll do that full lecture, like how I would do the real lecture kind of thing. I'll do that on the Rebel Pastor channel, probably on episode 15 or 16, so either next week or the week after that, so you guys can get an idea of the full lecture, what it's actually supposed to look like. And I think it'll help even more for you guys to see how I actually do it. So stay tuned for that episode, and hopefully we'll get that by next week or the week after that, right? And if you do have any specific cases or types of people you want me to make a script for, that would be kind of cool. Yeah, that would be really cool to see if you guys have, what about a person that's like this? What about a person that's like this? And you know what? There's actually something I really want to do, and I think I'm going to prepare this for August, because I know that the new semester here in Malaysia starts in August. So I want to do something really kind of cool for MSD, and I want to show you guys what actually happens when I meet someone to do a full script. Right? Then you guys can listen in real time how I evangelize. Like, I'll put on a mic and everything else, and I'm going to record myself literally talking to someone I just met on campus. And because a new semester starts in August, I think I'm going to just do a couple practice runs on campus, and then just to prepare my lips and my heart, to go out. This could be a little bit scary in the beginning, but I think it'd be kind of cool to hear actual evangelism in real time and seeing successful types of evangelism happen. And I think that's something that I definitely want to try. So I'm going to go work on this. I'm going to see if this is actually going to work or not. Okay? So, there's one thing I'm thinking about, because it's about evangelism. And I know evangelism is it's not a sensitive topic. It's something that we all want. It's something that we all want to happen in our churches and stuff like that too. And, I was thinking to myself, is like, man, if we could just be set on fire for this history, like really set on fire. And being set on fire is not an individual, like for a church, it's not an individual thing. Set on fire is you kind of have that fire burning, and you have groups of people that are just really wanting to make history. And I'm not talking about evangelism, actually. I'm talking about just making history happen inside your church. History happen for your individual life. History happen in your department. History happen in your churches. And yeah, like I said, it's not even about evangelism directly. I actually think it's hard to just tell people to evangelize. I think that's one of the hardest things to do. Evangelism is not one of those easy things, because when you're told to evangelize, it becomes a chore, it becomes a job. And I think the most important thing that matters more than the telling people to go evangelize, it is setting your faith on fire. Or if you're a leader, setting the church's faith on fire more than telling them to evangelize. It's like getting and having that love affair with God again, to just realize how amazing it is to be in this history. And I think sometimes, even when I was a head leader, this is a mistake I would make, is sometimes I would focus way too much on just one thing, which was evangelism. And when I think about it, evangelism is not the core of faith. It's not the core. Evangelism is not the core. It's a secondary importance. I would say it's one of the higher ups of the secondary, important things that we have to do, but it is definitely not the core. And what happens is, if you focus on what is secondary, like evangelism, then what happens is a lot of people are going to start feeling left out because not many people can actually be on the front lines. Not many people can actually lecture. Not many people can actually go out and manage and such. And you're kind of going to, what do you call it? You're going to segregate. You're going to make some people feel left out because they can't really be there, but it's all talk, just everything's about evangelism. So if we focus on faith, right? Getting your faith set on fire, and getting that joy back. Like I would say that people in Providence are happy. I would say that. In the past I thought to myself, are people really happy? And when I realized that happiness is not an emotion, happiness is more of a state of being. Like I'm happy to be in this history. I'm happy to be saved. I'm happy to be raptured, right? I'm happy to meet, Jesus who came back again. I'm happy for those things. Like that's a state of being in my heart. But the thing I think that's, we need to get back is the joy. Like the joy, the emotional things that comes from your faith, not from other things. Like example is, remember I told you before, I went to see one of my good friend's daughters in like a singing contest, and she won both singing contest awards, right? When you see the parents' face when she won, there was joy. It's not the fundamental happiness and joy, but it's such a joy to see, that your daughter, your child has won some type of contest. There was that joy that came out, right? And I would say, yeah, I'm happy to be in Providence, but I would say that sometimes I do lack that joy, right? That joyfulness, like, wow, I'm here in this history. Oh, I got a revelation. Oh, God told me this morning. Oh, wow, God bless me. Like there's a joy that comes in these things when you receive something from God, or when you're blessed, or when you realize, right? And what I thought is like, when you focus on evangelism, if you focus on that as the main thing, it becomes, you're focusing on something secondary and not the core. Like I said, evangelism is one of the highest things that we can do for God as a secondary purpose, but there is nothing higher than our relationship with God, how we live with God, how we interact and communicate with God. There's nothing higher than that. There's nothing that should bring us even more joy than that too, when you just sit in prayer and you feel God's presence. When there's no word said, but God is there. Where you sit there, just enjoy, like, wow, God, I am so thankful. I am so grateful to be in this history. I am so grateful to be a part of this rapture history. God, I am so thankful. Like there's that joy that comes from these things when you interact with God, the Almighty God, who is our bridegroom. I don't think there's nothing higher than that. That's why the purpose of creation is to become the counterpart of love to God. And I think this is kind of when you hear some teams say, what's the point of saving others when you can't even save yourself? Which means if we're not even focused on our own relationship with God, if we don't even have great faith, or not great, but like just decent faith, you're out saving others, but you can't save yourself. Now, this does not mean, oh, if you don't have good faith, just don't go out and evangelize. That's not what it means either, right? It means that here we are having zero focus on our own faith, and we're just focused on other things. Yeah, sometimes our faith goes through ups and downs, and that's normal. Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes those things happen. We're like, oh, okay. Oh, what about this? Oh, and those things in life are going to happen. But if we're not even trying in our faith, but we're putting all this effort into evangelism, what's the point? We need to, if anything, we need to realize that we have to do the core first before we do the secondary. Oh, this reminds me of an example. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and it was about reading the Bible. And one of the basics is reading the Bible 3 times in your life. And I think one of the things that this is a good example of what I just talked about evangelism is sometimes people get caught up in reading the whole Bible. So what happens is we start with the purpose in mind. We need to finish the entire Bible, which is really long. And when we finish reading the Bible, it's such a big feat for us that after we stop reading the Bible, because the goal is done, right? But was that the intention? Was the intention for us to read the whole Bible, right? Or is it the intention to read the whole Bible 3 times and then you're done? You never pick up the Bible again. The whole purpose and the intention and the goals that we have is not so much that, hey, read the Bible as fast as you can. Read the Bible 3 times. It's not about that. The goal, the intention, is about our relationship with God. And when you read the Word is God. When you read the Word, because you're reading God, you're connecting with God. You're getting close to God. We're learning. We're listening to His voice. And it's not something we listen to for 9 months, 10 months. We read the Bible 3 times and we're done for the rest of our life. The goal is an everyday read. The goal is an everyday connection. The goal is every day to talk to God, every day to hear God's voice. It's far better to read 5 chapters a day for your entire life than to read the Bible 3 times in a year and then never pick up the Bible again. That was never the intention. Reading the Bible is part of our everyday relationship with God. Because I know in the past, after reading the Bible 3 times, I stopped reading the Bible for a couple of years. Well, maybe not a couple, but for a long time I stopped reading. Until there was, there's a Bible reading contest. There's this. It's because we finished a goal. The most impressive thing is someone who just wants to meet God every day. Yes, we're busy. Some of us have businesses. Some of us have children. Some of us have families. Some of us have all these things that keep us busy. But everyone has 5 minutes. Everyone's got 10 minutes. And especially right after pre-dawn, there's enough time to read the Bible. There really is. That's the intention. It was never to just read the Bible 3 times. And I think we need to change the way that we got to change the way that we introduce the Bible or evangelism, where we have a real intention. And just telling people like, hey, we're going to have this contest just to get things going. But the ultimate goal is, guys, let's just do 5. Everyone can afford 5 minutes. Let's just read the Bible for 5 minutes, right? Every day. And that's all you got to do. 5 minutes, however many chapters it is, or make it a goal, 2 chapters, 3 chapters. And that's far more impressive than reading the whole Bible 3 times and then never picking up it again, right? The goal was never to just read the whole Bible 3 times or just once, just to say we did it, right? And I would say that it's kind of the same as evangelism. We end when, we're done. We went to evangelize. Okay, we're done. But the real goal is just to be with God every day. The goal isn't to go and evangelize. The goal isn't to go and talk to people. It's about living the proper life of faith. When we have that good relationship with God. When while you're going out to evangelize, you take God with you and you say, God, I'm going to evangelize and I only have 20 minutes today, but God, can you please be with me as I go and share the gospel with other people? And you do it together with God. And that is the most important part, that you do something together with God. The important part is, no, did you meet 1,000 people? Did you evangelize 100 people? No. The original intention is for you to do things together with God. That's the original intention. That's what we're supposed to do. And I think that we need to go back to the core rather than going to a secondary purpose or a secondary goal. Because I'll tell you guys this, when you are living a great life with God, when you are connected, when you are praying, when you're deep into prayers, when you're crying out to God, when you're doing things together with God all the time, guess what? Evangelism is natural. It just happens. But what happens when people are not so happy or not so joyful in their faith, they're not doing well in their faith and they just go out to evangelize, you bring what's going to happen is, even if you find people to bring back to church, if the people don't have that joy, then it's not going to work out. I think, we have to be joyful in this history, have that joy, and really make real great history happen. So, that's kind of one of the things I was thinking about a lot when it came to evangelism, because I really, really have that fire man, we got to evangelize. And, this coincides not so much because someone is telling me, because, think about my situation is I'm all over in internet ministry right now. I'm so busy because of this. I rarely meet people. I rarely, I go to the Sunday service, I go to the services and stuff, but I don't really have much more interactions, but I'm like, man, I got to go to evangelize. It's like, it's a very internal thing that's in my heart right now. But yeah, these types of things were happening. I was thinking about these thoughts as I was talking to my friends and reading the Bible and stuff like that too. So this whole thing came about because of this conversation. But either way, yeah, that's something that I really thought was important that I wanted to share with you guys. Tell me what you guys think about this too, because I think it's very, very important that we're living that type of life that we should be living either way. Okay? So, yeah, there it is, guys. That is today's first segment. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, we have QNA Thursday today. We got a couple of questions, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that one too. Okay? So, yeah, before we get into QNA Thursday, let's get into the first music break of the day.
Just like the rest, I walked in death, not knowing the value of a single breath. My pride was the biggest prize I had to protect, walking around high and mighty, sticking out my chest. Calling the shots like I know what's best, living how I like, but I piled up a debt. Outside's alive and aware the inside is dead, and suddenly truth shined just like the dawn. All things in life I knew 0%, then I realized how far I was gone. Wasn't right about anything, I was dead wrong. Everything thought to be reality was a fallacy. My life wasn't great, it was a tragedy. All I knew was fake, I thought I'm losing my sanity. All the while gazing at me was the Trinity, looking with love, grace, and mercy. Patiently working consistently with me, and eventually brought me to the new history. I learned about someone new whom they used. He worked with heaven and I learned his stories. He is living proof that the Bible's words are true. On the scene at 15, splitting every single seam. God's words flow from him like he's a stream, preaching to the point that even his throat would bleed. The most impressive person I have ever seen. Him speaking the truth revealed everything to me. Parables, holy son, soul entity, spiritual universe. Frankly, I don't think he's done. He's taught me 1,000 tons, too much for a single verse. This is so amazing to the point I may burst. I'm sure he's the one the Bible said would come. Where else would this earth-shattering word come from? Then I really realized he is the Messiah, sent to the world and raised humanity a level higher. Didn't come to destroy, but the word is the fire. Amen to the very end, my faith won't expire. He's been going 79 years and hasn't tired. Due to that condition, the greatest blessing we've acquired. Between him and the Trinity, that time was finally captured. I'm sure now that they got their bride, nothing can match her. Rapture, that's what we received. Was evangelized, lectured, managed, now I believe. Never knew this was something I could achieve. Your blessings really flow endlessly. I promise you, I'll never leave. So I'll stay with you to the death of me. With you I've fulfilled my destiny. Now I'll reboot, give you the best of me. Offering my youth, running even faster. For me and so many, you're not just a pastor. You're the shepherd over all these pastures. King of kings, Lord of lords, that's for sure. We're a perfect match, a hand and a glove. The atmosphere in the air is full of love. Came from above to hold the banquet. So I'll GGG eternally for 316. Just cause I was swept into the net of the word, heard and learned, doesn't mean it's over yet. I really need to look at myself and reflect, line up against God's perfect law and check. All my flaws need to be resolved. Be bold to slanderers when I try to call. Like him, I'm thankful for tribulations, cause I didn't fall. With the rapture, I'm standing tall. The love they give is truly priceless. If I'm not with the Lord, life enters crisis. Without him, I'm a ship that's wrecked to pieces. So I'll always eat the word. Box of Reese's, stick to him, red blood cell and Reese's. I praise God for sending son, sing him, and Jesus. He had a plan for them before they were a fetus, to reveal to the world heaven's deep secrets. With his name, bring the pain, breaking Satan's noses. With the Lord's condition, let's show him a comatosis. While looking at heaven, never losing focus, conversing in our thoughts every single moment. Then our spiritual rapture will never be stolen. If you only see strife, come see what peace is. If you want to know heaven, come and see this. If life were an essay, this is the thesis. Rapture, that's what we received. Was evangelized, lectured, managed, now I believe. Never knew this was something I could achieve. Your blessings really flow endlessly. I promise you, I'll never leave. So I'll stay with you to the death of me. With you I've fulfilled my destiny. Now I'll reboot, give you the best of me. Offering my youth, running even faster. For me and so many, you're not just a pastor. You're the shepherd over all these pastures. King of kings, Lord of lords, that's for sure. We're a perfect match, a hand in a glove. The atmosphere in the air is full of love. Came from above to hold the banquet. So I'll GGG eternally for 316. Remember, this wasn't given for free, so always hear the word and do good deeds. Praising those that saved us is an amazing thing, and live with them in love. 1 John 3:18. Be like him, always run on God's team. If you live like him, you'll surely succeed. Believe him, absolutely, and gotta let you pass. If you want the greatest salvation, walk this only path.
All right, so let's get into today's QNA Thursday. A couple of questions here. We'll start off with the very first one. This came out in the comments section, and this said, I have a question about the Sunday message. The Old Testament is 4,000 years, the New Testament is 2,000 years, and the complete Testament is 1,000 years. It means that Jesus will come after 2,000 years of the New Testament ends. It says this is historic evidence. How does one make that conclusion? It is not clicking for me. All right, and this is a very, very good question because we do teach in the Bible studies a 3-triangle chart that says 4,000, 2,000, and of course we're expecting a 1,000-year history. And when I first talk about this at the very, very basic level, the 4,000 years we all know, right? So the 4,000 years is not the tricky one. So 4,000 years, not tricky. At the end of the 4,000 years, then Jesus comes to start the New Testament time. And it's been 2,000 years thus far. And of course, if you look at Revelations chapter 19, is it chapter 19 or chapter 20? I do believe it is, one second. I do believe it's chapter 20, right? 1 second. It's got to be Revelations 20. Yeah, Revelations chapter 20. It talks about the 1,000-year reign. Okay, so we do know that there's going to be a 1,000-year reign also. Okay, however, the hard part is, the tricky part is, no one can begin the complete Testament time until Jesus comes back again, and that begins the 1,000-year reign. Okay, so when we think about it this way, it's like, yeah, the hardest part is when we're lecturing. I always tell people when they're first starting is like, hey guys, so it's been 2,000 years thus far. And we're waiting for, the Lord's second coming to come back, and then the 1,000-year history begins. So what this week's message talks about is the historic evidence of the 4,000, 2,000, and 1,000. Now, how can we make this something where we begin to understand and realize, this makes a lot of sense, that that we should be expecting the Lord's second coming at the 2,000-year mark, okay? So how do we come to this conclusion? Well, let's start off with some basic historical evidence, okay? Historical evidence is what we've learned as in the repeating history. So repeating history in Ecclesiastes 1:9 and 3:15 tell us that the past, present, and future are the same, and Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 also tells us that God never changes. So when we look at how God is making history, when we look at the Old Testament time, we see that there is a repeating history of 1,600 and 400, right? So from Adam to Noah is 1,600 years, and then from Noah to Abraham is 400 years, and that's 2,000 years gone by. Then we start again for the second half of the Old Testament, which is Abraham to Malachi is 1,600 years, and then from Malachi to Jesus, 400 years, and that's the 1,600, 400. Then we look historically speaking, and this is why I do believe that the world history, there's a history lesson that Sunseam spoke of in the past, not about Sunseam's life, it is about world history. We look at the time of Jesus until Martin Luther, who died in 1546, right? In the 16th century, is 1,600 years. And then we have 400 years later, we're expecting the Lord's second coming to come again, which is another repeating history that's happened 3 times over again, right? So this is why we can look at this and say, yeah, it's pretty, well, from our perspective, especially people in this history, just looking at that, it is very, very obvious that is 4,000, 2,000, 1,000, and it is historic evidence. And if you take it one step further, you also have to realize what it was like at the time when Jesus came. Because I'm sure Jesus said the same thing. Hey, Old Testament's 4,000 years, it's historic and we have evidence. But when you think about it, The only people that know the historic evidence are the ones that know that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, which means, yes, he came after 4,000 years. The hard part is the people who did not know who Jesus was, to tell them that, yeah, the Old Testament ends in 4,000 years. How do you know? Why? Because the Messiah is here. Do you get what I'm saying? So you kind of see that they're in a very similar predicament as we are today, because only the people that know will have that absolutely, it's that complete testament's here. However, we do have the repeating history of 1600, 400, 1600, 400, and 1600, 400 to show that, yeah, that's a historical evidence too, that every 2,000 years a great person came. From the beginning of history of Adam, 2,000 years later, the father of faith, Abraham, came. He's the one that started the history. Why Jesus says, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And then 2,000 years later again, after Abraham, is Jesus, the Messiah. And then we have 2,000 years later, again, is supposed to be the Lord's second coming, which is once again that big theme of 4 times 500, right? And we see that it is the repeating history of times, like 4 times over, right? And it reaches perfection and the Messiah comes. And then it reaches perfection and the Messiah comes. So that one is a conclusion that is known to us, and it's hard to say that we can just teach this person right away that this time has come. However, I do think it's something that we will eventually be able to teach people, eventually, right? So I think it's something that, that it is teachable, but it does take some background. It takes some tilling of the soil of people's hearts first before you can get into those deeper things. Okay? So yeah, that's how I would answer question number 1. Question number 2 actually came from the Rebel Pastor podcast. And in the Rebel Pastor podcast, I did talk about how a lot of times we get disappointed because a lot of big figures in church leave, right? And the examples I gave is, especially when it comes to the former faith, there's a lot of big worship leaders that left Christ, left God altogether, right? So they leave, and people are wondering, like, hey, how the heck, people get so shocked because how the heck can these types of people leave when they were the people God was working through? And the question what kind of came up is, if God is working through someone, if he literally worked through someone, then how could they leave God? And I would say there are just way too many examples of this in history that it should be something we shouldn't be shocked by. We shouldn't be. Look at great figures in the Bible, like Judas, like people who were 12 apostles, Judas Iscariot, and he betrayed Jesus. Look at King Saul. He went against God, even though God put him as the king. Look at John the Baptist, who's supposed to be the one on God's side, but then he's the one that doesn't truly follow the Messiah. Like, there's so many different people out there that they kind of go astray. And I think a couple of big hints that we have is like Matthew chapter 11, verse 6, where Jesus talks about John the Baptist and says, "Blessed is the one that does not fall away on account of me." And a lot of times what happens is, even though we're being used by God, it doesn't mean that we're literally perfect at that time. We're still going to have our own thoughts. We're going to still have the things that we think in our hearts and our minds. And if we really think about this deeply and carefully, we need to realize that, there's free will. We have ups and we have downs. Like, look at this. One thing that Sunstein says about human beings is human beings are forgetful. So even if God uses you, but what if you stop being used by God for a long time? You're going to forget. That's how easily human beings forget. Look at John the Baptist at the beginning of his ministry. He's the one that baptized Jesus, saw the dove descend upon him and hear God's voice. "This is my son whom I love. Listen to him." How could you forget that? But you can. Time passes. You start doing different things. You're doing things away from God. And what happens? Excuse me. You're no longer close to God and you forget those things that actually happen. And I think that's something that we need to recognize also for ourselves. Even what Sunstein said is anyone truly safe from the fall? Just because you overcame this big temptation, does that mean you'll never fall again? No, it's when you lose that tension, when you lose that faith, that fire of your faith, this is where Satan comes in and can tempt anyone. And I think that's something that we have to recognize. We really, really do. That if we do not manage our faiths well, even if we were so being blessed and used by God in the past, it doesn't mean that you are immune to leaving God's history, right? It's our own thoughts, the things that we think about, the things that we do in our life, and a lot of these things overpower what God truly and really thinks of us. And I think in life, we're going to have our cycles of ups and downs, and we really need to realize about ourselves more deeply and really take care of ourselves well too. Because when sin creeps in, it comes in small first. And a lot of times our sins may seem too small. We forget about them. We don't repent about them. And that's what happens is we kind of lose sight and Satan grabs a hold of our hearts because of the sins that are unrepented for. So I would say that is something that we should be thinking about very carefully and very deeply also. And it's something that we should really open our hearts and minds to, because this we're living in the history of God. And this is something that we really have to understand at a much deeper and a much higher level, right? So that is question number 2. Okay, so let's get into the last question for today. And this question is about evangelism. And this person is asking, Pastor Sky, I have this great fear of talking to people and it stops me from evangelizing. What is the best way that I can go out and start talking to people? Okay. I would say that this is a very easy answer, but not a very easy thing to do. But I would say the biggest thing that matters is being absolutely prepared and knowing exactly what to say. Because this is one of the biggest reasons people are scared is people are afraid to talk to people or be in front of like public speaking is because they're scared to make a mistake and then people laugh at them or people look down on them, right? So if you are absolutely prepared, and the more prepared you are, the better. And I would say start off something very, very easy with talking to yourself in the mirror. Just look at yourself. Start talking to yourself, do your entry, do your pitch of how you talk to someone, how you evangelize someone and stuff like that too, okay? I would start with that. Next thing I would do is go to some good friends at church and start talking to them. Just say, hey, can I work this on you so that I can, I want to start talking to people and evangelize, but I need to practice on some people. Practice on like 20 people. Get it going. Get it very easy. And remember, when you're going out to meet people, you don't have to literally evangelize them on the spot. That's not easy, especially where you're coming from. If you're very, very scared of evangelism, yeah, you don't have to go out and have your goal like, oh no, I have to bring someone to Bible study. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. The very first thing you just want to do is break the ice and say, hey, I gotta survey. I'm from this club on campus. I'm doing this survey. Can you help me out with this? Nice and easy. Something easy, something that you can't mess up, something that you can practice over and over again. And yes, you're going to be scared in the beginning, but as you begin to talk to more and more people, you're going to get easier and easier. It's going to be more comfortable for you too. So I would say is over practice, almost over practice. Talk to yourself, write a very, very simple script. Practice it by yourself. Practice it in the mirror. Practice it on members. Just keep practicing it. And then when the time comes, which is the hard part, just go out and just talk to people and ask them if they'd like to help you out with something. It's something very simple and very easy. Like I said, for someone who's an extrovert, it's very, very easy. However, it's not very easy for introverts, and I understand that too. And I would say, even as an extrovert, it's not that easy. Even as an extrovert, it's not easy. So if it's not even easy for an extrovert, then it's got to be that much more difficult for someone who's an introvert. Right? So that would be my advice for someone who's just trying to do it for the first time, but it's just practice. But make sure you have a script, like something you absolutely follow. When I was doing marketing and I was doing sales, we would be practicing our pitch every morning for 15 minutes. Every morning. Hi, my name is Sky. I'm coming from this company. I'm just wondering if you'd like to da-da-da-da-da. Like that would be practiced every single morning. So that it'd be very easy for me to talk to someone, very easy for those words I'm never thinking about, oh no, what am I supposed to say next? And as I got better and better at it, what was the thing that became easier? Once I became really, really good at it, the next thing that happened was basically me talking to this person and reacting to them. So they would ask a question, and I'd be more concerned about that rather than what am I going to say next? Oh, what's the next thing on my script? I'd be like, oh, I should talk about this. Ooh, I should talk about this. So that I think it's something that does take some practice and some time, but it does need that courage and that bravery. And the more you practice and the more you get into it, it's going to be scary. But the less scary it will become, the more you practice it. So that would be my advice on that, right? That would definitely be my advice on this. Extroverts, there's always a pro and con to everything. Introverts have pros and cons. Extroverts have pros and cons. Like, look at me. I'm an extrovert, right? And if you're an extrovert, a lot of times we say things we shouldn't say. That's just that's what happens with an extrovert because we're talking all the time, right? So we will make mistakes, and it's more, you will see it more because we're the ones saying it, right? But introverts, they're more upset about, darn, I should have said this, instead of the extroverts saying, dang, I said too much, right? So it's that's kind of the curse we have, extroverts and introverts. But yeah, I understand. But it's something that we all have the capability of doing it, okay? So there it is, guys. That's the top 3 questions for today's Q&A. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, too, leave them in the comments below, or you can DM me or whatever it is, and let's talk again soon, all right? So, yeah, today we have Sermons in the Sky with Pastor David Baker. Hope you guys will really enjoy that. I think the title of today's sermon is Evidence, so that's going to be kind of cool. So before we get into that, let's get into the last music break of the day.
Y'all ready for this?
Shown you love me with things you've given. You know I love you. I'm already singing about the stories that we have together. It's here forever. It will only get better from now on. Everything that you've given, I'm so grateful. Let me show you my love, 'cause I'm so thankful. Let us dance on the streets. Let us rock to the beat. Show me how you feel about me. Watch me move my feet. You're always on my mind. I can feel it in my heart. Everything's alright, 'cause you're not so far. Please take my hand and love me through a dance. I wanna show you my love, so give me a chance. We have stories of joy and pain, but that's okay, 'cause that's like dancing in the wind. And I will say it again, I'ma dance with you.
I'ma dance with you. I'ma dance with you. We can move to the beat, our love so complete. I'ma dance with you. I'ma dance with you. I'ma dance with you. We can groove to the beat, our love so complete.
You've shown your loving, you gave me a chance. And with the mistakes I've made, I've never fallen away from you. Though times are rough, it'll be okay, 'cause I am never, ever, ever gonna leave you astray. Ay, thunderstorms are a little scary, but with you, I won't feel weary. Even on cloudy days when skies are gray, my heart's okay, the sun will shine through the rain today. Let us dance on the streets. Let us rock to the beat. Show me how you feel about me. Watch me move my feet. You're always on my mind. I can feel it in my heart. Everything's alright, 'cause you're not so far. Please take my hand and love me through a dance. I wanna show you my love, so give me a chance. We have stories of joy and pain, but that's okay, 'cause that's like dancing in the wind. And I will say it again, I'ma dance with you.
I'ma dance with you. I'ma dance with you. We can move to the beat, our love so complete. I'ma dance with you. I'ma dance with you. I'ma dance with you. We can groove to the beat, our love so complete. I'ma dance with you.
Okay, so let's get into today's final segment, which is Sermons in the Sky. I did not do it last week because we had scripts. I did a script for last week, but we're going to do it again, and Pastor David Baker has graciously given another sermon called Evidence. So I'm really looking forward to this, hearing the stories, and learning a lot and receiving a lot of grace from this too. So everyone, without further ado, all the way over there in South Korea, this is Pastor David Baker with Sermons in the Sky.
Hello, this is Pastor David. I hope you are well, and I welcome you to hear this message about God's new history and this time of spiritual brides. Evidence was the core topic of this week's Sunday message, and I'll focus mainly on evidence today. In the Sunday message, Sunsenum shared abundant evidence that showed us clearly Providence Word is higher level and from God. One example was about the time after Cain killed Abel. He had to leave his family and was worried that he would be killed by whoever found him. But as Sensenum pointed out, if Adam and Eve were the first two people on earth, then there wouldn't be any other people to harm him. Likewise, the Bible says that Cain left and lived in the land of Nod, where he married a woman, he had a wife and kids. Where did she come from? From these examples, we can easily conclude from the evidence that there were already other people on earth. In this way, Sunsenum taught us that Adam and Eve weren't the first two people on the planet. Instead, they are the ancestors of faith. Looking at it this way is so simple, yet powerful. Later on, people will wonder how anyone used to believe these fantasy-like, childlike teachings. It's fine if you believe these kind of things when you're a kid, but adults should know better and be better. Evidence is power, authority. Evidence is the right, and it's reality. People can only fight against reality for so long. And in the end, if they do so, they just look weak and stupid. Nobody wants to follow weak and stupid. For example, when I became a Christian in college when I was 22 years old, I visited countless Bible studies and churches where they tried to teach me ridiculous things. They said the earth is just 6,000 years old, and dinosaurs never really existed. Dino bones are just things buried in the earth to test our faith. I only visited such places one time, and then searched elsewhere for a spiritual home. For me, this was a time of 5 years in the desert. And until I learned the Providence Word, I was dying of thirst. But once I heard it, I was amazed. Evidence is now helping us prove that the legal charges against Sunsenum are completely fake. With evidence, we can show the audio evidence was fabricated. It's all lies. Evidence helps people realize clearly that Sunsenum is the person sent by God, the true owner of the Word. For me, this December is my 30-year anniversary in Providence. 30 years. Time has flown by. Yet, Sunsenum still brings out new Word on a regular basis. I've heard over 3,000 Sunday and Wednesday messages from Sunsenum over the past 30 years. You'd think I would have heard everything from him, but he still keeps teaching us new things. It's incredible. For example, this week, Sunsenum said in the message, he saw Jesus' spirit over 300 times. I've never heard that before. And he went on to explain that it wasn't just briefly seeing Jesus like a vision in the flash of an eye. No, they met, they watched each other for a long time, and Jesus would teach Sunsenum and interact with him. This is something I'd guessed was true, something hinted at, but hearing Sensum say it directly is incredible. So I realized once again that Sensum is like an iceberg, that there's a little bit showing out of the water, but much, much more beneath the surface. Sensum has so much more to teach us and deliver to us. So we can ask the question, why doesn't he just pour all of it out? Why doesn't he give us everything at once? I was reminded one reason why recently when I started reviewing my old journals from 1998. During this time, I spent 2 months in Korea with Sunsingnam. It was a time of spiritual training, really special time. At that time, Sunsingnam said repeatedly that he had new word to deliver in the second half of history. As an immature young person, I remember thinking, oh, that's so cool, we'll have some new Bible studies to teach. I took it so lightly. But years later, when Sunsingnam revealed epic word about the Holy Son and the true meaning of the rapture, it was clear how significant these things were for God's history. And yet Sunsingnam held on to these secrets for a decade or longer until God told him, now's the time to reveal it. And that's what Sunsingnam is doing right now. He's bringing out the new word and sharing so personally and deeply that even people who've been in Providence 10, 20, 30 years are just blown away. It really reminds me of John chapter 2 when Jesus changed the water to wine. People were amazed when the best wine was brought out towards the end of the wedding banquet. I feel like that's happening now. Sunsingnam's bringing out the best, the deepest, powerful word now in the second half of history. And it's powerful evidence that Sunsingnam is the true owner of the word. How do we know Sunsingnam is the owner of the word? There's been people that attend Providence, steal the word, and use it to make their own church. Some people have even accused Sunsingnam of stealing the word from someone else. But we know Sunsingnam is the owner because he keeps bringing out new word from God again and again. A thief may have a few gold coins or some nuggets to sell, but they will eventually run out. However, the owner of the gold mine can always get more gold, and Sunsingnam is like that. In my journal from 1998, I was reminded of a lecture I attended in Busan when Sunsingnam spoke for somewhere between 6 and 10 hours, teaching the key points of all the 30 lessons. And when Sunsingnam began, he said, all right, everybody, I'm going to quickly go through the first lessons, maybe 5 or 10 minutes each. Let's start with sunstop. And then Sunsingnam proceeded to teach about sunstop for 90 minutes, an hour and a half. Why did that happen? It's because at that moment, while he started teaching, the Holy Spirit inspired Sunsingnam and a new seal was opened. Sunsingnam taught a new example about how to explain that lesson, sunstop, in a powerful new way. And it was completely fresh. It was new to him. A new load of gold had been brought up from the mine. And Sunsingnam always reminds us that he has this endless supply of new word because it doesn't come from him. The word is from God, and he gives abundantly according to the will. So to wrap up this message about evidence, I want to encourage everyone to do 3 things. Number 1, keep a journal. Write down the miracles, the dreams, the prayers answered. These special spiritual moments are personal to you. And while they're fresh right now, 10, 20, 30 years later, you're going to forget so much. You don't have to write a lot, but just put the key dates and the key points to trigger your memory. And as I go over my old journals from the past 30 years, I'm realizing how valuable it was that I wrote these things down. These journals become a treasure chest of blessings and memories, and are also evidence of how much the Trinity and Lord have given you grace and blessed you. Number 2, find the thirsty people. Evidence is like water to those dying of thirst in the desert of the modern world. People can't find truth anywhere, and they're so weak and discouraged. But when they drink the living water just once, so much strength will come to them, they'll keep coming back for more. I was like that 30 years ago, and I'm still joyfully drinking that living water today. Number 3, have confidence and courage. People who have evidence, who know the truth, they know what the future holds. We know what God is doing, and we know God's plans for the next 1,000 years. So we should boldly make God's history. As long as we obey the word, God said He'll be with us and help us prosper. This is like knowing the winning team in advance and being allowed to join it. It's such an amazing blessing, so let's do well together with God. Finally, let's conclude the message with a prayer. Dearest God, we cannot thank you enough for the evidence you have given us. You have revealed your new history and the one you sent to us. We are determined to live with you, working boldly to fulfill your kingdom of heaven here on earth. Please receive our love and forgive our shortcomings. We've set our minds to be bold and courageous like Joshua. Let us be the hands and feet of the Lord to spread this new gospel like wildfire. We love you, and we pray asking all these things in the name of our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen. Everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. I sincerely hope this message was helpful and inspiring to you. Have a blessed week together with the Lord.
And thank you so much, Pastor Baker, for another wonderful and awesome message. I really, really enjoy listening to Pastor David's sermons. A lot more for me, because these are stories, some of them I haven't heard before, or some of the things he talks about makes me think more deeply too. And I hope that you guys have received as much as I have. If you have any comments, any encouragement, praise, or questions, or whatever it is, go ahead, leave that in the comments for Pastor Baker. Anything else, just let me know. Okay? So there it is, guys. That is the end of today's Thursday podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, tomorrow's Friday. The weekend is coming, so we'll see you guys again then. All right? Everyone, take care, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know. I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive.